Welcome one, welcome all to this new edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host Albert Sita. I want to thank you all for taking the time for spending this next 25, 30 minutes or so with us, whether you're watching us on YouTube or you are enjoying us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podomatic, Amazon, all that good stuff here. This week's show, we're going to talk a lot about professional wrestling. There's some major news last week, specifically in the world of AEW. We're going to talk about some outside movement in the UFC. One fighter officially parts away with the UFC. Another one is suspended for 6 months. We got all that good stuff to kind of get into. But before we do that, Albert Cito, how you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing so good. So just to give you an update on my figs, I pre-ordered this badass Wolverine that's going to come out in April. So I'll school you real quick on the toy game. So what a lot of the figures like to do is they like to put a bunch of like good figures and a bunch of crappy ones. And the incentive for you to get all of them is there's a little figure inside each one. And then at
like
the
a little
end,
part.
Yeah, a little part. And then you build a figure. The Wolverine is part of that series, but doesn't have a part. So I just got him because I don't want to get sucked into buying all of them because I know it's going to...
Which you probably will be eventually, right?
Yeah, it's going to bug me if I had one and I had one of the little parts and I want to eat. So luckily the Wolverine in that series doesn't have a part.
Well, we get to keep us updated on that one. And when are your unboxing videos going to come?
Hopefully, well, I got the music from our boy Steven Razzo, who does all our music, except for the YouTube video and
except
our
for
podcast. Except for the one you now. That's done by our boy Robert.
Yeah.
You can hit him up at what Gucci
Madeus.
He has some dope beats over there.
Yep.
But for all our other stuff, we use Steven Razzo. And so he gave me a killer track. And so I'm going to put all that together. So hopefully within the next month, you'll see some unboxing on 5RoundMMA.
Yep, there you go. So Albert and I were talking before we started recording here. Now we're kind of getting into the winter months. Got to bear down, stay home for this COVID spike. But what are you watching on streaming that's kind of you want to recommend to somebody?
Raised by Wolves on HBO Max.
Okay.
Woo, that's my series right now. I got one more episode left. And then, of course, I mean... Who's not watching The Mandalorian?
That's true.
Who's not watching?
Very good episode this past week.
Have you checked out The Boys on Amazon?
Yes, I finished The Boys.
Woo!
If you guys have Amazon Prime, highly recommend that. It's a super awesome, funny, entertaining, violent show. The Boys, Mandalorian. I have not seen on Netflix, the Queen's Gambit, the chess one?
I tried watching the first episode.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past it. One of my colleagues at work was like, dude, you got to get past the first episode. It's really rough.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it. The other one I keep hearing about is the one that's, it's before the one that flew over the cuckoo's nest.
That like nurse
Ratchet,
one,
Nurse
right?
Ratchet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all honesty, like I haven't really been following any of the Netflix's original series for a while, I think. I can't think of like the last one, like, oh, this Netflix original series is really one, because what's the point in getting invested in them? Because the one, they just cancel. If I can be honest with you, I'm still getting over the heartache of the Daredevil and Punisher being canceled like midway.
Dang. At least finish it. Netflix has the money, finish it.
And I was a big fan of Mindhunter too, which was about like FBI profiling.
Dude, Mindhunter was so good.
Nah, we're done with it. Meh, we're done.
Yeah.
So like, I just what's the point in unless it's like you're gonna tell me it's a limited series and maybe I'll get invested. But like, I don't want to watch something for three seasons. And all of a sudden, no, we're not gonna renew it. Like Glow, we're not gonna renew it. Well, we're just done with it. So okay, cool. We're just gonna leave it hanging and like it's just like
I know they need to finish up. They got the money.
Yeah,
finish the series.
Finish it out.
They went back and finished the rest of development. They can finish the rest.
Yeah, they're gonna bring back stuff like that. But yeah, I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of what we're watching here. But I guess we should just go ahead and start the first round, right? So start that timer here. Last Wednesday Night Dynamite for AEW was a Winter is Coming preview. Special, I guess. It was a special edition, more specifically because he had a big time matchup between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. That was like the one that's really a pay-per-view worthy bout, but they say, hey, we're going to put it on free TV for the TNT audience. You had the Britt Baker versus Hirsch and the Dynamite Battle Royal, Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian, Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin versus the Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, so Team Taz. Overall, what would you rate this out of 5 stars, Uncle Dave Meltzer style?
Out of 5 stars, I want to get a 4.5.
Okay,
I think it was missing one more like big match.
Yeah.
There were some good matches on there, but I was missing. I need one more match. You know, we got 5 stars.
Like a really good like tag team match.
Yeah,
right?
I think they just want to get the Bucks a little bit of break because they've been grinding.
Yeah.
But yeah, just one more match. I think I would give 5, but 4.5.
Yeah, I give it a 3.5.
Was it a 4.5 before Sting came out?
No. It was actually for me. It was like a 4 before the finish of the main event.
Okay.
I'm a big Kenny Omega mark. We've been a mark of his since PWG, going on over 10 years ago. Like that was like
I still remember the first day I laid eyes on Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
and I was hooked.
Yeah, and I think. I'm also not a big fan of Jon Moxley, so him to get like a heel cheater win over Moxley to kind of continue the storyline.
You knew that was coming though. I felt it. That I honestly think Tony Khan was such an ECW mark.
Yeah,
that he really thinks very highly of Jon Moxley.
Yeah,
and he was. Everyone thinks Kenny Omega is his boy. No, it's all the people that remind you of ECW. Those are his boys.
Yeah,
and I think he didn't want.
Yeah,
he didn't want the clean finish.
But at least, listen, ECW guys, like, granted, okay, there was clean in ECW clean finishes because there's technically no rules, so clean finishes. Guys had no problem losing like that. But in this kind of scenario, I don't know. He says that and Kenny Omega is going to premiere on Impact. From what I heard from Dave Meltzer, is that it's just gonna be a one-off. It's a favor more for Kenny Omega to his good friend Don Callis, who oversees Impact Wrestling. So
let's get some of them ratings.
Yeah,
up a
so
bit.
actually don't expect all these kind of cool matchups that people were saying AEW versus Impact. That is actually going to be a one-off, which is kind of weird. Like, this is what AEW is, right? They'll have like a little bit of a trinkle. They just did this with NWA, right? With with Thunder Rosa and the women's house, and then all of a sudden. We're not gonna let our talent go to your show, but your talent can come to our show. Yeah. So are you seeing kind of a pattern?
They even have some MLW stars. So what's his name? The kid. His dad was Pillman.
Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, Brian Pillman. Duh.
Yeah,
Brian Pillman Jr.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's actually from MLW, and so he came from MLW. There's a couple other MLW guys that are.
Yeah.
There's a few, but yeah, it seems like it's a one-sided thing. The only thing that frustrates me is, like you said, the when they don't finish a story, it frustrates me big time.
Yeah.
Like the whole Mike Tyson thing, what was that about?
Yeah.
Was it just to promote Mike Tyson?
Pretty much.
That was it?
So what other thoughts on the card, other highlights on the card for you?
Actually, we were, I wouldn't say we were pooping on it, but that battle royale, the finish was really good. Yeah. I mean, when they got down to the last 3 people, when it was Orange Cassidy and MJF,
the finish was really good.
Yeah, all that Hangman Page. The finish was super good. So I think that was enough for me to, consider it a match.
It's just like every event they have a battle royal.
Yeah, but at least it was a good one.
It's like, but every one they're gonna have one next month again. Every event they have a battle royal, and it's like, man, give us some. I'd rather have like 2 really good matches than like 1 battle royal. That's how many creative finishes can you have in a battle royal again? And then with like, it's just like it's too many battle royals for them. That's what they're known for. It's just
you got to put everyone on the show.
again, who says who? Says who?
I know. Well, they're all friends. That's the problem. They're all friends. Someone's gonna get hurt.
You gotta cut. Sometimes you just gotta cut them off. And like, if you're not good enough to be on the main card yet, you gotta bust your ass and get on there to be good enough. But like, to say, hey everybody, thank you for showing up. We're all gonna get you in a battle. That's like super duper like indie stuff, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not hating on the battle royale, but I get it. If you do it every single time,
every event they have a battle royale,
it gets played out.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I'll probably be coming off like I sound like I'm an AEW hater, and I'm not. It's just like I want them to be better. So yeah, maybe I just want them to be better, and I know they could be better, and I'm like, man, you guys can do so much better, more, and then like it's just like, man, you guys are almost there, but that's a conversation for another time. But that's winter is coming. Any final thoughts on that? No.
Just for the first time in I forget how many years, I had to look up and see what time Impact starts on Tuesday because I'm going to check it out.
We'll continue this conversation.
They got the job done.
Yeah, we're also talking about the big debut of the icon Sting during this event. So we're going to take a break, come back and talk about Sting and what his potential impact, no pun intended, could be on AEW coming up next.
5-Round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 2. So the big debut or big surprise for AEW's Winter is Coming was the surprise debut of the icon Sting. He can't. Albert, what happened? How did he come out?
You saw a graphic on the Titantron.
Yeah.
Snow started to fall, and out came out Sting.
So what did someone's getting beat up, right?
Well, he faced off with. So first he faced off with Cody's manager. Oh my gosh, I am having a hard time with names today.
Yeah.
Who's Cody's manager?
His wife?
The Four Horsemen.
Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson. So first he faced off with Arn Anderson, and then Cody, and then Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And then he kind of pointed his bat to the crowd. He did his woos, and then he left. So. I'm guessing he was just saying, like, I'm going to pick one of you guys.
I'm here. Yeah.
I honestly think he should pick Arn Anderson.
Oh, God.
Because I don't want to see Sting at all.
Okay, so here we go. So reports came out that Sting came out. He's not going to be wrestling as much, more of a regular on-screen character. So he's not going to be like a special appearance every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
That he's old, like he's over 60 years old. They don't expect him to take any bumps. Usually when Tony Khan says stuff like that, they kind of stick to the word that he's going to be a recurring character. So I guess this guy who comes out and just beats up people with his bat, I would assume. So they're teasing all this. I guess they're just teasing with Darby Allin and Cody and stuff like that, where they don't expect him to do much in the ring wise.
So is he going to just manage Darby Allin? That's what it sounds like.
Could be, right? Hey, you got face paint, right? So we'll put you together with Darby
exactly.
Allin.
And then I guess
they've been doing that with Arn Anderson, with Tully Blanchard. They've done it with Jake the Snake Roberts. They'll just.
I have no problem with having managers because some people need them. I mean, sometimes in WWE, I'm like, dude, put that fool with somebody because he cannot talk or he cannot sell.
But like Sting is not known for his good promos.
No, he's just a bunch of woos and bat pointing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think this is just going to fuel the rivalry with Cody and Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Because one thing they kept bringing up, and it's a known fact, that Sting was Cody Rhodes' favorite wrestler growing up.
Yeah.
So if Sting goes with Darby Allin, and then then Cody Rhodes might have like some kind of tension with that.
Why am I not surprised that this big debut for AEW has something to do with Cody Rhodes again? But again, a conversation for a different day on like who's really running the show here. Also, they said a reason why they brought Sting back was to get that TNT audience that left when WCW kind of went under. And it just kind of further so what the hell is AEW? Is it WCW 2.0 or is it trying to be its own thing where like, hey, what is it? Like, I don't know. Okay, why are they trying to hark to the past when you have all this crop of guys who could just, just be this new thing of professional wrestling? No, we're going to bring back Sting. We're going to bring back Arn Anderson. Hey, you remember Nitro? That was really cool, right? Well, we're kind of like that.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like the company is a big mishmash of a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And they're not going to quit on any of them until one of them, I think, catches fire. Because if you watch the YouTube series, Being the Elite, they make fun of their demographic. They make fun of, doing older stuff.
Yeah. So
they're aware of what is going on in AEW. And everybody knows that if Cody Rhodes is involved, it's something emotional. If it's ECW, Tony Khan. I mean, bringing back the FTW belt.
Yeah,
come on, get at it. Like to me, that guy. To me, I almost rolled my eyes. Like this, do people really care about the FTW belt?
Again, hey, this was really cool. Remember back then, 20 years ago? We're gonna do it again now.
Yeah. So I just think they're all bringing their ideas, and they're not gonna quit until one of them sticks.
Yeah.
I just think they're just gonna keep throwing it.
Okay, but how about like we talked about last week, Adam Page, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, Lucha Brothers. You got all these guys who haven't really had a national
talent.
Haven't had a national platform.
MJF,
before.
who is the steal of the century.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he isn't up there in every week. You know, I know they're giving him that push, but yeah, like this graphic shouldn't be just like you said. Yeah, it should be Hangman Page and. Yeah, I
don't know. I just don't know what I thought. Okay, this is going to be the alternative WWE. All these guys here who are in Ring of Honor, who are in New Japan, who all did this different style. They're going to cut their own type of promos. It's going to be good. It's going to be authentic. And all of a sudden now it's like we're bringing back DDP. We're bringing back Jason Stick Roberts. We're bringing back
which it's funny because like I like seeing the old guys.
Yeah, I just don't want them. I
just don't want them centered. It's funny because when I think back to TNA and when it was red hot was when they got Kurt
Yeah.
But Kurt was still a young stud and he was still putting up good matches.
But what did he do?
But then they flooded it with a bunch of old timers.
Yeah.
And then it kind of watered down the
But
product.
then also Kurt Angle, what did he do? He put over Joe. He put over AJ Styles. He was putting over all the guys there. But all of a sudden, hey, let's sign Booker T. Let's sign RVD. Let's sign, we'll put Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner over on all these guys. And then we'll put AJ Styles, Samoa Joe in the back seat.
And then the last nail in the coffin, bring in Hulk Hogan.
Let's bring in Hogan. Let's bring in Ric Flair. Let's bring in Mick Foley again. So it's kind of like at first they say, well, we don't want to bring these former WWE guys here and highlight them. We want to build our own stars. But I mean, what's Jon Moxley if not the Shield? What's Cody Rhodes if not part of WWE and his dad's legacy? You know what I mean? And then what's Sting? He's WCW, but like it's not AEW. And I want AEW to shine. I don't want to see these relics of the past anymore. Like, I just don't see what Sting's going to bring to the table.
I didn't want to see Sting back then, and I don't want to see Sting now.
I mean, like...
I've always hated Sting.
Yeah, and then... Yeah, man, I don't know. I just wasn't super excited for this.
The work rate isn't there for Sting.
Well, yeah, and they said they're not going to put him in. So it's like, okay, well, he's going to come and stare down Cody Rhodes, and he'll stare down whoever, and then...
So you're saying we're going to get 2 years of stare downs?
Pretty much. And it's not like he was like a great on the mic where it's like, oh, man, his promos are bad. Let's go. I want to see what he's going to say next. He's just, hey, the Stinger's here, blah, 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 blah. Woo! That's about it. So I know I'm being a little hard on AEW, but I just want them to be good and great, and I just want them to not settle for what I think they should be, and they should be something a lot greater than what they are right now. So that's it for round number 2. We're going to switch gears and talk mixed martial arts. Khabib Nurmagomedov held a press conference and kind of gave his plans for post-retirement and also stated what it would take for him to come out of retirement. So we'll talk about that coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 3. We're going to talk about some mixed martial arts now. Khabib Nurmagomedov, the arguable lightweight GOAT, who is freshly retired about a month ago, announced recently that what are his post-retirement plans. One of them is forming his own fighting league, Eagle Fighting Championship, off his nickname, the Eagle,
which he purchased a former organization.
Is that what he did? Yeah.
He purchased a former organization to start that.
So they already have a deal with the UFC Fight Pass. I assume it's going to be pretty badass because it's going to be like a bunch of Russians and Eastern European guys just killing each other. Is that what it's going to be? Or is it going to be based out of Russia, I assume, right?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's just trying to highlight all the Russian stars.
Yeah, he could be that feeder. Like, hey, you want to see this badass Russian fighter? He's in the Eagle Fighting Championship before he takes over the UFC.
Which I do not like Khabib at all.
Yeah.
At all. But I think he is onto something. If you make regional promotions like this with like actual money invested and then having a platform to view them is smart, because one of the problem with MMA is in reality it's still a young sport that there's like unhidden talents all over the world, but you just don't get a spot. I mean, if Ngannou didn't find his way to America, like you wouldn't have gotten Ngannou.
Yeah.
So I think to have these regional things, I think that's where Dana White wanted to go, but it's kind of hard to do the tough series like that.
Yeah.
And doing this, I don't mind it at all. I feel like Mexico needs one, or South,
Yeah, I think each kind of continent and country is coming up with like about one, like, this is our kind of regional, MMA organization.
And that is the future right there.
And also,
and then just have UFC just pick them up.
But props to UFC too. Hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll make a deal with you for our streaming service. So that way, when these guys do enter the UFC, we have their back library of all their fights coming up, so people can go back and see what they did. Because before that, I mean, it was really what King of the Cage. That was the premier organization that guys did before going to the WEC or even UFC back then.
Yeah, so the organization he bought was Guerrilla Fighting Championship, and he bought it for $1 million. And
now it's the Eagle Fighting Championship. Yeah. So he probably just bought all the equipment, all the cage, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything. Pretty much he bought the production.
And just
it seems
now we're the Eagle. So I think it'll be successful.
Cool logo, by the way. I'm not gonna hate on it. It was a pretty cool logo.
I think it'll be successful. He already has a streaming service. That's like probably the biggest thing was like, where am I going to show platform this at? He got it checked off already. So I think business wise, he's on the right, smart move. He also mentioned that one of his main goals is to make mixed martial arts an Olympic sport. And he said that it could happen as soon as the next Olympics in Los Angeles.
I don't know. I've been hearing that for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't see MMA just because when you think Olympics, especially like with combat, there's a lot of protective stuff that needs to take place. So they don't they're gonna have MMA and they're gonna have like headgear or I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like boxing.
They don't like boxing. Like a lot of their combat sports, they like to be very protective. It's not as open as you think. So I don't know how it's gonna work, and I kind of don't want it to work. Like why does MMA have to be in the Olympics? That doesn't make no sense to me.
I don't even see why it's like to make it legitimate. It's a very legitimate sport, I think. And there's the amateur circuit all around the country. Maybe there's not much of an amateur circuit around the world.
Well, there's also a reason too. I get that boxing has from little kids all the way up, like these regional competitions and whatever, and that's how. But to me, it's tougher in MMA, and I almost feel like in MMA, you can compete in collegiate wrestling. You can compete in other safer sports, then put it all together later.
Is he planning on this? Like, is MMA going to be just the amateur Olympics, or is it going to be like basketball where the professionals can come and play? Like you're gonna have actual professionals. What's more appealing to you, amateur style or professional fighters representing their country?
Well, like in boxing, you're not allowed. I mean, once you turn pro, you can't go to the Olympics.
But for Olympics for basketball, you got LeBron James, you got Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, that's not right either. I honestly think they should take all pros out of Olympics.
So are you interested?
Once you go pro, you can't go back.
I mean, so we're gonna have, but then like they don't get paid for Olympics, so it's like, what's the advantage for a fighter to do other than it's Olympics? You're one of the best.
I would be okay if they try to make some kind of World Cup feel to it where they're like, we have a Russian tournament, this is the best Russian, we have an American tournament, this is the best American, and then they fight each other.
In all honesty, I think instead of making mixed martial arts in Olympic sport, he should really focus on trying to get jiu-jitsu in Olympic sport.
Yeah,
I think that's
which is a way safer combat sport.
Yeah,
and I can see people getting behind that because it has a point system, and
weight division, open weight or whatever. Yeah, women's, it's going to be a lot.
I feel that fits way better than MMA.
So I mean, that's one of his goals, I guess he said too. And also, he said they asked him, "What would you do to make you come out of retirement?" And he said that he promised his mother that he was done fighting after his dad died, and he said he would only come out of retirement if his mother gave his blessing. Or her blessing. Sorry. Do you think Mama Khabib will?
I don't know.
Mama Nurmagomedov will give her blessing.
I think Conor might take it there,
and that was my next point.
Give the blessing.
Is Conor or Tony going to say, "Hey, I'm gonna go after your mama now"?
Yeah.
You just give us a big opening. I'm gonna start talking crap about your mama. So you better come out and defend your mama.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not saying nothing about Khabib's mama.
It's kind of like you're definitely poking a bear in a cage if you do that.
But Conor and Tony, I think they might say something.
But I think it's something there where he actually gave a little bit of light, saying, "Well, I look if this," as opposed to, "Nope, never come out again." So it's still in the back of his mind. I think that he wants to still fight.
If Conor gets that big win coming up, please pay close attention to his post comments.
Yeah, Woo. If he talks about Khabib's mama, then it's gonna be end of days for Conor McGregor. That's it for round number 3. We're gonna take a small break, and we're going to talk about more MMA news. More specifically, one of our favorite fighters getting suspended for 6 months for a USADA violation. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 4. Albert, El Pantera.
Don't tell me.
Yair Rodriguez. He was supposed to be the future king of the featherweight division, the future king of Mexico and mixed martial arts, has been suspended 6 months by USADA for not a drug test failure, but for failing to register his address. So they can't find him. These UFC fighters have to be available 24/7, 365 at the drop of a hat. If USADA comes knocking on their door for a drug test, they're supposed to drop whatever they're doing and give them a drug test. And part of that is, hey, you got to tell them where you're at, where you're living. And Yair Rodriguez has continually not filled in his address form, I guess. So because of that, USADA has suspended him for 6 months. Now he's not eligible to fight, I think, until the middle of 2021. Before this, he hasn't fought since, when was his last fight? Against Jeremy Stephens.
October 18, 2019.
So it was going to be about 2 years out of action. What are your thoughts on this? And we'll start the round here now. Are you disappointed? What is this the end of Yair Rodriguez?
I am heartbroken because we were literally talking about this last podcast about having a Mexican fighter and how I know I really wanted when Cain Velasquez left, it left a big hole in the Mexican MMA fight world.
Yeah. And
you had these up and coming guys, Yair being one of them. So it just breaks my heart that it's been a freaking past a year since we've seen him. In another 6 months, the only good thing is he's 28, so he has some time. But it just frustrates me because I don't know if I'm more mad at USADA for having some stupid setup, or mad that Yair couldn't just put his freaking address and have a place to go. I almost feel like they got it, like the way things are now, especially with the way the world is like.
Why don't you just follow him on Instagram?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How hard was it really to find him? That's what I was gonna say. Like, it's not like you can go anywhere. So I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be home anyways.
Yeah, so that's the part that confused me. I don't know if it's just because they're just trying to be strict and be like, hey, he didn't technically register.
Yeah.
Even though we can, like you said, we can just pretty much figure out where he's at.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, I mean, even before this, Rodriguez was getting some crap for with the eye poke for Jeremy Stephens. They ran it back. He beat him anyways. But he was supposed to fight Zabit. I'm gonna murder his last name. I guess that fight was rescheduled twice already. So people think he's ducking Zabit here. Not exactly, I don't think the best attitude outside of the ring. So he's getting kind of that reputation now. So what does this do for his reputation now? Because a lot of people are just going to read the headlines of Rodriguez suspended 6 months for USADA violation and not click on the articles and find out why he's suspended, as opposed to like, oh, USADA, he's doping. Told you he sucks now. So do you think he has a lot of reputation rebuilding to do after this? Or people would say, hey, 6 months, he's fighting back, has a knockout, and then he's back where he's at.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I think you have to be a hardcore fan to really even have Yair Rodriguez in your radar.
Yeah.
Just because he's had such little fights in the UFC these last 2 years, that I think a lot of people forget he was even in the UFC since it's been over a year.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be a hardcore fan and really know about him. So I think he can bounce back easily. The only thing is, I doubt UFC is gonna.
How's Dana White gonna promote him now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's gonna have to start again, maybe in the undercard.
Yeah,
and then get a couple wins before he gets. Because I think he was ready for a big push. I think like you said, I think it was, a matter of when he was going to challenge for that belt.
Yeah.
But
it's because we all know, like, I think that Dana White and the UFC see the values in having, a Mexican star. But Dana White, he loves his Russians, he loves his Irish guys, right? So he's gonna give those guys a break and promote them more over a Latin American fighter or Hispanic fighter, Latino fighter, right? So I think, like, if there's like a Sean O'Malley thing, oh, you're good, man, come back right here. Again, we'll put you back on the main card. But for something like Yair Rodriguez, he's gonna have to definitely earn his way back into the good graces of the UFC.
And I was actually looking forward to see maybe I dare say it out loud, Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez.
Ooh, who would you
man.
pick on that one?
I don't know because it's funny because I relate more to Brian Ortega.
Being a Mexican American,
maybe a Mexican American, but oh man, that would have been a scrap.
Yeah, he seems to be like our only hope, right? And like now with his performance over the Korean Zombie, he's kind of back on there too. But then we saw what happened against Max Holloway, where he got that title shot and just got completely dismantled. So,
but that's the old Brian Ortega. That's Brian Ortega that had long hair. This new Brian Ortega with this new attitude.
Cholo Brian Ortega, right?
Woo! I like this new Brian Ortega.
He stars in one David Ayers movie, and all of a sudden he's back to
love it. That's how you do it. You gotta go back to the streets.
Back to being a cholo. So we'll see what the future has for Yair Rodriguez 6 months from now. Obviously he's gonna fall off the rankings for inactivity.
It just sucks because it feels like we're not gonna see him until
like a year from now, probably, right?
Late 2021.
Yeah, and who knows?
Because like you said, he has to get back. He has to somehow figure out this USADA thing. I'm hoping they give him the John Jones treatment and just like give him a slap on the wrist later. Maybe he can say like, here's my address.
Appeal, yeah. So we'll see. Again, the future. He said only 28 years old. Super exciting fighter. Unorthodox knockout kind of stand-up style.
And the featherweight division needs as much people as they can right now, to tell you the truth. I think all those lower divisions, we need the most stackness there is.
Yeah. So we'll see what the future has in store for Yair Rodriguez after the 6 months are up. We got one more round coming next. We're going to talk about the soldier of God, Yoel Romero, requesting and actually getting his release from the UFC. We're going to talk about where he could potentially wind up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Fifth and final round. So late breaking news this week. Yoel Romero, perennial title contender in the middleweight division, requested and has been granted his release from the UFC. Per his manager, he just straight up said, hey, we requested the end of our UFC contract and it has been granted. Reports from ESPN and Errol Hawani said that he actually has 3 fights left on his contract, but the UFC said, hey, you know what? You want it? Ask and you shall receive. What was your initial reaction, and why do you think he actually requested for this release from the UFC?
I was shocked because even though he's in a losing streak, I mean, it's not a bad losing streak. Yeah. I mean, anybody in that division would have lost to these 3 guys, the last 3, which was Izzy, Robert Whittaker, and what was it? Paulo Costa.
Paulo Costa.
Yeah, sorry.
All title contenders.
All title contenders, and all could be champions technically.
Yeah, one is champion.
Yeah,
Adesanya, Israeli Adesanya.
So I was shocked, but I hate to do this to you, Alex, but I'm gonna have to put my conspiracy hat on real quick.
Okay.
Because I know you hate following them YouTubers out there, and you're not a Jake Paul fan, whatever. But believe it or not, there was some rumblings in social media that Jake Paul is willing to fight Yoel Romero in boxing.
No way.
I'm not kidding you. And keep in mind, if you look at how much they got paid in the last pay-per-view thing, it's in the millions. So I think Yoel Romero's like, bro, if I can get in this I don't even know what you call it. If you can get in the next Mike Tyson, I'm just gonna say that in the Mike Tyson pay-per-view against Jake Paul, he's going to make a couple mil.
Okay, but
and I think he likes his chances. So I honestly think, this is my conspiracy hat on. I'm not saying, I'm just following the little webs. Maybe, just maybe, Yoel Romero asks for his release so he can enter boxing and fight Jake Paul for a paycheck.
Okay, but in the grand scheme of things, who's Yoel Romero to the Jake Paul audience? He's just some really dude who's in shape. Oh, he was a UFC fighter. He's not the likes of a Diaz or a Masvidal or Conor McGregor. These people who I don't follow MMA that much, but I know who Conor McGregor is. I know who Nate Diaz is. I know who Jorge Masvidal is. I have to follow MMA to know who Yoel Romero is, right? How's that going to appeal to the audience of a Jake Paul?
I agree, but I'm telling you, they're going to sell it as far as, okay, Jake has fought these social media guys.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna fight a legit fighter.
Visually.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're just going for that title.
But visually, oh yeah, you put oh crap, he's gonna fight that guy. Yoel Romero's super buff and looks tough, but I don't know who he is. But I guess we'll wait and see in that one. I'm thinking more he'll go the Bellator.
Now to take my conspiracy hat off. I think Yoel Romero just feels probably like he only has 3 fights left in him. and I'm pretty sure he's just trying to maximize
with sponsorships, right?
Yeah, and the fact that I don't know, no one really knows what the UFC contracts look like.
Yeah.
So maybe after sitting down with his manager or whatever, and they discuss with Bellator, like you said, he can get that sponsorship money plus whatever Bellator pays him.
Yeah.
And like I said, I honestly think he has 3 more fights. I'm not that he can't compete after 3 fights. I just really think to be at that level, at the very peak where you want to keep fighting and keep doing those good performances, he has 3 in him left.
That makes sense.
And he's just trying to maximize his money. I honestly think so.
I totally. 43 years old, has 3 fights left on his current UFC contract. He's already proven that though he is legit enough to fight at that high level, that championship level, he can't win, right? So what do you put him now? You put him in
lost to 3 guys that he had, and no matter what, he has to beat these 3 guys to be champion.
So you probably put him in that mid-card status, maybe a fight night main event, but maybe a mid-card pay-per-view. The money's not as good there, right? I don't get that extra income for sponsorships. Hey, you know what? Let me out of here. You don't have to pay me anymore. I'm going to go to Bellator or somewhere else where I can get, like you said, the show money, and also I can just stack up sponsorships like crazy. I could just deck out my tights and my fight banner and the extra sponsorship money, and then call it a career at like 45 years old, right? Because the dude's a beast in his 40s. Imagine if people keep saying he didn't get into the game until he was about 36.
Yeah, because it took him forever to make it.
Imagine if he was in like in his 20s, right? But super controversial. Never really made weight. He kept missing weight all the time, but nobody ever questioned his athletic ability, which is why you think the UFC would keep a guy around like that, right? He's just one of the top ones, but if that's the case and his manager's looking out for him, that's a pretty good manager, I think.
And then real quick, Bellator does need some 185ers. You got Lyoto Machida, Gregor Mousasi, and then their current champ, which is Rafael Lovato. So they need they need challengers. So
I like that. You can definitely make those matchups again. Make them fresh under the Bellator banner. But yeah, it's super shocking because I thought Romero's been a staple in the UFC for a while.
I think he was just going to turn into the gatekeeper. You don't get to the top 3 unless you go through Yoel Romero.
True.
So.
All right, so that's it for this week's show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for spending this time with us here. Again, make sure to keep up to date with us on social media at Twitter and on IG, both at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. Thank you everybody for tuning in, leaving comments on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, put on those notifications. We don't really spam you guys. A lot of videos here, you'll get it once a week. So don't worry about us blowing up your phone like a crazy ex-boyfriend. Don't worry, we won't do that. You'll just get consistent videos from us once a week here. And again, everybody who follows us and leaves comments on our IG posts, thank you very much for that, for sharing our content as well. Albert, what do you got?
I just want to thank everybody for listening.
All right, see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.